In this tutorial, I have pried myself away from Baldur's Gate 3 enough to show you how to create a reduced choice drop-down data validation using Google Apps Script. In a previous tutorial, I've already showed you how to do this within Google Sheets, not using AppScript, but sometimes we do need to do things programmatically, and this is one approach to doing it. To keep with the theme that's currently consuming my life at the moment, we have 4 players and they have just stumbled upon a Conjurer's Hat of potions. Once they investigate the potions, this data validation drop-down list will appear with a list of potions in it from which they can draw from. Now, the Conjurer's Hat isn't unlimited as much as we would like it to be. However, there are limited items to it, so each time someone selects from the Conjurer's Hat, the item has to be removed from that list. Now, there's a starter sheet for you to play along with in the link in the description below. As you can see over in the right hand side here, there's already some comments on functions pre-built in for you to get cracking. You don't have to do a lot of clicky-clacky to get things started. So go ahead and download the sheet and the accompanying Google Sheets and pause right now. And when you come back, we'll get cracking with the code. I'll see you in a bit. Okay, so here we are. Our brave party members have found a Conjurer's Hat of potions. They are about to investigate and they've decided that they will perhaps take turns drawing from the Conjurer's Hat. So how are we going to achieve this in Google Sheets using Google Apps Script? On my right hand side, you can see the Google Apps Script IDE that's connected to this Google Sheet. Now, don't freak out too much about the layout or the IDE. I've used the developer tools to get rid of an extra space here so you can see the code as it's sitting next to the Google Sheet. Okay, so the Conjurer's Hat is available here in the Conjurer's Hat of Potions array, and then we've also got this investigate message here. So when they click investigate for the first time, we want to see this investigate message appear here. And then we want this range here from D3 through to G14 to populate with the drop-down list. So we've added our message cell, which is going to be A4. Because it's a merged cell, we only need to reference the first cell item in the top left. And then we've also declared the target sheet as select potions that you can see down here. And then our checkbox cell being B2. And then we've got the character range here. Now we could have used A1 notation like we have here, but we're going to identify certain things by their column number and row number in a moment, so it's easier for us in our global variables at the top here to identify as numbers first off. Okay, so the first thing we need to create is the onEdit trigger function, and that's a custom Google trigger function. If you've been following along with this drop-downs with the AppScript playlist, you would have seen me use this in action already. But essentially, anytime we make an edit, this onEdit function will be called by Google and carry out the actions within it. So what do we need first? So the onEdit function takes a variety of onEdit values, and the values that we want at the moment are going to be the range. So let's put that in a constant called range equals e.range, and then we also want the constant value. That's going to be equal to e.value. And then we also need to get the active sheet. So on edit, we need to check what sheet we're on and then what range we're in. So let's go const again. Active sheet is equal to range.get sheet. Lovely. And then we also want to get the sheet name, so we compare what's coming in from this E event with our target sheet name, which is up here. So let's go const again. Oh, const for a constant variable. That's one that doesn't change. And we'll say active sheet name. That's going to be equal to, now that we've got our active sheet, we can just use the get name method from the active sheet. So active sheet dot get name. Bang. Cool. So that's our onEdit variables set up. What do we need to do next? We need to check if we're on the correct sheet. So check on correct sheet with our onEdit. So if we've clicked on notes, for example, then the edit just needs to return straight after this. It shouldn't be doing any more work. We want things to run as smoothly as possible. However, if we're on the select potions, it needs to identify a few things, so that's where we carry this out first. So if it's not on this sheet, so we'll say if active sheet name does not equal target sheet, then we just want to return this function as quickly as possible so we can get on with things. Okay, so let's do something a little bit cheeky here. So we've got some little toasts that pop up every time if we run this sheet. So let's say SpreadsheetApp dot get active, which will call this current sheet or the active sheet that we're working on, and we can say toast. Okay, oh, totes? No, toast, but like totes. Okay, and what do we want to identify? Let's just call the active sheet, yeah? Active sheet name, this one here. Bang, cool. Hit save. Nice. So if I click on this, we've got a little toast here. It says select potion. It shows the sheet tab name. If I say hi on notes, hi. What happens here? Nothing happens because this active sheet is not the target sheet. Cool, that's exactly what we want. Nice. Good little test here. Saves us doing a console log. Okay, so what's up next? So we want to check if the value is a checkbox first. Let's uncheck this first. We're going to get our annoying little toast. So we'll comment that out for now. It got annoying very quickly. And we want to say if we are on the checkbox location and that checkbox is set to true, we want to do something. So let's say if value is checkbox box lock and true. Cool. So now we can run an if statement here that says if range dot get A1 notation. So it's going to allow us to get the range of the A1 notation we want to compare against this checkbox cell here. So if range get A1 notation is equal to checkbox cell, and then if the value, and that's what we created just here, we got the value from the event parameter. If the value is equal to true, it will return a string containing the capital letters TRUE. Then we want to do something, and that something is going to be to return a function. So what are we doing when we check this box? We're investigating the hat. So that's what we've created down here, investigateHat. So return investigateHat. All right, so that is going to take an active sheet as an argument. We'll talk about that in a moment. So the active sheet is this one here. So I'm going to copy that. And let's just leave this on edit statement for the time being. And we will, let's move our little toast to here, make sure this works. And we will say active sheet, just say made it, or I'm a hat. There we go, the hat speaks. All right, we saved. Let's go and click off here and then check the checkbox. I'm a hat. Cool. So this has made it, and it's checked we're on the correct sheet. It's checked we've got the same checkbox cell we need, and then that the value is true. And then because everything has been met, it's gone to investigate hat, and that's where we've toasted. If I click off this, nothing should happen, and nothing does because we've asked for the true statement. Bonza. So what's our task for this function? What we want to do is add a story instruction to the sheet, and then we want to add our drop-down data validation range to our characters here for them to start selecting or start drawing from the Conjurer's hat. Okay, and let's just keep our toast here now because there may be a small delay, and we'll change our toast text to investigating hat. Pink, pink. Cool. And that'll buy us some time as our code starts generating. So the first thing we need to do is to add our message to the active sheet range that we need. So we're going to add message and say const message range. And let's get the range for the message, which is going to be the C4 here. A4 here. and that's going to be active sheet dot get range. And what do we want in here? So we've got this message cell up the top here. So we're going to grab that. So message cell. Yay. Looks good. Cool. Let's just put that in a new line so it looks pretty. Much more attractive. Now, first we want to check if the message already exists here. They've already run an investigation on the hat. So we don't want to do anything further. It's already been done. We don't have to investigate it again. So let's just check and say if message range dot get value dot length is greater than 0. So the cell value of A4 is not empty. Then we just want to return and do nothing else. Otherwise, we're going to carry on with our work here, which will contain message range dot set value this time. And what do we want to put in there? Well, we want to put in our investigation message here. What was it? Investigate message here. So investigate message. There it is. Lovely. And we'll hit save. Okay, so it won't hurt to give that a quick test now. We can delete that out fairly simply. So I'm going to check this checkbox. It's an onEdit action, investigating hat, and then we've got carefully looking at the hat. You notice that there is an embroidered label on it that says Conjurer's Hat of Potions. You can't seem to see inside the hat, so you decide to randomly assign who draws from the hat first. Okay, exciting. I don't think I'll get a job at Larian anytime soon as a writer. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is build our potions drop downs. And I've noticed a spelling mistake in my function name for this. Bold drop here. So we'll just change this. I'm going to double click this and hit Control D and build your potions drop down. There we go. Cool. All is good in the world again. And what do we want to pass into that? Well, we want to pass the active sheet again. So active sheet. Lovely. Okay, so that's everything for the investigate hat. Once they've investigated, they find some information, and then it gives them an opportunity. They've had a chat, decided that they're going to hand things out, and now we need to create the handy outy stage. The first thing we need to do is get the selection arranged for all of our players here. So let's say create choices from range. And then I'll create a constant variable called inventory range. We can kind of say this is their inventory or their staging inventory position here. Maybe they've got all these potions in their hand before they put it in their pack, for example. And now we can say active sheet.get range. And now we need to put in the positions. Remember up here we've got our row start, col start, depth and rows. So instead of having A1 notation, so we'll need to duplicate that. So we'll say character range, which is this one here, and dot, and the first one is going to be row start. And let's just duplicate that 2, 3. Oh, I forgot to put commas in. I'm a bad human. Row start, and then we want col start for our next one. Col start, comma, and what's next? Then we want row depth, comma, and then dot col width. Cool, and that's going to reflect this row start will be 3 rows down, so 1, 2, 3, followed by 4 columns across, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it's going to run for another 12 more cells down and 4 columns across for our 3 characters: Glum, Appleswith, Plagian, and Fisht. Okay, because we're going to use this build potions drop down not only in our initial setup but also on edit as well, and we'll add this call in here in a moment. We first want to compare what's currently being selected against our Conjurer's Hat of Potions and subtract anything that's already currently been subtracted from the Conjurer's Hat each time someone has made a selection. So the first thing we need to do is grab the current values inside this range here as a simple array. So it doesn't currently, if we draw this, it'll be a two-dimensional array, encapsulating array around either side here, and then an array for this row, array for the next row, and so on and so forth. So let's grab that first. We'll say const current values as array is equal to inventory range. And then from that inventory range, which we've collected just up here, we are going to first get the values. So get values. And then we want to use the flat method here. So this is a JavaScript method, flattens a multi-dimensional array into a single array. So we use the flat method here. And then what do we want to do? We are going to filter that to exclude anything that is empty because we don't want to be referencing against empty. That's time consuming. So we'll say filter cell is equal to, and we'll use the filter method, which takes a function. We'll use the arrow function here, and on each iteration we will call the cell that we're looking at, and little arrow function doobly-doo, and if that cell is not equal to, or item not equal to empty, then we want to return it and create an array of everything that's within it. Cool bananas. And then let's speed the process up a bit for our comparison. So if we have everything sorted alphabetically and then we compare it against this list here, we might make processing just that smidge faster. So let's sort it as well. Sort. The JavaScript sort method. Cool. Let's grab a little toast here and we will toast this current list of values at the moment. Just put that on a new one so it's not so ugly. There we go, hit save. Nice. We need to get rid of that and get rid of that now. Okay, so let's put in 1, 2, 3, for example. And we've saved, yeah. Cool. All right, so let's investigate for the first time. Investigating hat. And then we've got an array that we generated. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Everything else has been removed though. Cool. That's what we wanted to see. Lovely. And delete. That's a pretty good test. Let's continue. Well, the next thing we need to do is to get the difference between the two arrays. So basically, this is a list that's already in the inventory, but we can also call this an array of items that we want to delete from our main hat array here. So to do that, we're going to call a function that I've generated down here below. If you want to learn more about this function, I do have a video tutorial on it that you can find in a link in the description below. But essentially, all it does is takes in the main array and the delete array. So let's just do that now. So we'll say get array difference. And our main array here is going to be this big, beautiful Conjurer's Hat of Potions. So Conjurer's Hat of Potions. And then our deleting array is going to be, where is it? I've lost it. The current value as arrays. So current values as arrays. There it is there. Okay, so what's going to happen here? So our Conjurer's Hat is the main array, and then we've got the delete array. Basically, we're going to store a version of the delete array that we can modify and delete items of. Then we're going to run a filter on the main array and set each iterable as an item. And then we're going to store a constant variable called the delete index, and that's going to grab that new version of the delete array called the subtrahend and check the index of it and see what the item is and find out what the index number is. If it doesn't exist when we use the JavaScript index of, it will be -1. If it does exist, it will be a number from 0 up, indicating its position in the array. So if it doesn't exist, then that's great. We want to keep that value in our main array, which is our Conjurer's hat of potions. However, if it does exist in our delete array, we want to rebuild the array, deleting the current item in that array using the JavaScript splice method. That's this function in a nutshell. So get array difference. Now we should probably do something fancy with that by storing the return variables. Isn't that fancy? So we'll say const remaining values is equal to get array difference. Oh, vonst. There we go. Cool. And now that we have those remaining variables, we want to populate all our drop-down menus with the remaining values. So to do that, we first need to create a rule for our drop-down menus. So we'll say const rule is going to be equal to SpreadsheetApp.new data validation. Just a single because they're all going to be identical. And we'll put this on a new line and we'll chain the require value in list item here. And what is this list item going to be? Well, it's going to be an array containing strings, and we've already got, here's one we prepared earlier, this remaining values here. So copy that, paste that bad boy in on your remaining values. Okay, so next we want to set help. So we'll say set our help text, and we'll keep with theme, and we'll say withdraw an item from the hat. Or has hat advent to you. Yeah. Exclamation mark. So we're going to have that eldritch voice in it. Withdraw an item from the hat, adventurer. How are we going to set our invalidity? That sounds weird, doesn't it? How are we going to set what happens when a item is invalid? Because the list that the drop-down menu is going to be called from is going to reduce in items as they are selected. If an item suddenly doesn't exist, then we can't block that item from the selection. It still has to appear there. So let's set allow invalid to true, as in saying, yes, we want to allow things to be invalid. And then we're happy to build out this rule. Now the rule is built, we need to set this data validation rule within our range. So remember back all the way up to here where it says inventory range. Well, this is where we need to build it. So inventory range dot set data validation and then rule. Cool. So that came up, showed me I hadn't made a mistake yet. Nice. All right, let's give that a little test out. I don't think we need this toast anymore, so let's just comment that one out. The other one's kind of cool still. So the first time when we investigate, we want this text to appear and then we want a clean list. Now when it does its check of get array differences, it will be empty, so it will be a very quick process of saying, oh, nothing's there, don't worry about it. And then it'll come back with a full array that will be identical to this Conjurer's Hat of Potions. So let's go ahead and check it out. Cool. So everything's come up here, and just let's have a look. Let's go up to here, and I'll show you something interesting. Keep an eye on this Conjurer's Hat of Potions, and let's have a look at our drop-down menu. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We've got 11 here, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. What's going on? Well, in drop-down menus, as you might have noticed working with drop-down menus in Google Sheets in the past, no duplicates are shown in a drop-down menu, which is kind of good in our case for our Conjurer's Hat because we are drawing from a list and it's kind of a mystery to pick up and see, oh, how many potions of healing are there? Now, being the cruel DM that I am, I've only got 3 healing potions and 4 people in our party, so they can fight to the death and find out who gets the last healing potion. So it's worked out kind of handy, but if I select this item again, the potion of healing will come up one more time, but it'll probably come up towards the bottom here, because that's where it appears in the array, and then they can choose, and then it'll appear up one more time, and then it'll finally disappear the 4th time they try and open up the drop-down menu. Now, if I select from this here, nothing's going to happen. We'll have the same drop-down menu in all these other cells here. So how are we going to deal with that? Well, that's relatively simple. Let's head back up to on our onEdit trigger function here. So we've got one final condition that needs to occur. So let me just take this off for the time being, tab away. Cool. If someone makes an edit within these cells, then we want to trigger our build potions drop downs again to rebuild our drop down list for this range. Okay, so what do we have to do here? So we're on edit. Yep. Okay, so if value is equal to previous range, so what are we going to say? If the cell is within the player's inventory, then rebuild the drop downs. Sweet. Okay, so what do we need to do first? So to do that, we need to get the active row and get the active column from the event parameter over here. And we can actually get that from the range constant variable. So let's go ahead and do that with 2 more constants. So const active row is equal to range.getRow. And then const active col is equal to range.getColumn. Column. Sweet. Now let's run our if condition. And this is going to be a long one. So we'll say if here, and we'll put in 4 new lines. So if the active row is, greater than or equal to the character range dot, can't spell, character range dot row start. So if the active row, say, is greater than or equal to the row start, that's cool. It's in the right spot unless it goes over here somewhere, but we'll sort that out in a minute. And we'll say and if the active row is less than the character range dot, row depth. Cool. So if the row start is here and it's below the depth total, and what's that going to be? Row depth 12, so that would put it here. So we need to add 12 to 3, which should be 15. So we don't have to do, so it's less than, not less than or equal to. So let's add a plus here and add in the character range dot row start. Good. So that's got that to here. So it's up to 15. Awesome. And then we'll say, do the same with the columns. So active col is greater than or equal to character range dot col start, and active col is less than character range dot col width. We are golden. Nice. So if we've got our if statement, what do we want to do? Well, simply we just want to build the potions drop down with our active sheet. We did it. Good job, team. All right, we've saved. Did we make a mistake? Who knows, but we'll give it a go and find out. So let's have a look. We've got this potion. What's a single item? So old Glum jumps in there and he wants to grab something. Oh, well, let's do potions of healing first. That'll be kind of fun. So Glum's the first one in. He's going, hey, got my hand in the Conjurer's hat. Potions of healing. I've taken it. Cool. Pelagian is next, managed to get the hand in the hat. The next time around, they've said, oh, there's another potions of healing. Thank you very much. I'll take that. Let's just check that we made it in here first. So where's our little toasty toast? Here. Cool. And we will just add in this time range dot A1 notation. So that'll give us the cell that we've checked on. Nice. Okay, let's go in here and select our drop down potion of healing. Didn't pop up. Okay, something's going on. I missed something here. Nope. I see what we did. Okay. So we've got our coal width of 4, which is the same. Coal width is 4. And our coal starts 4. So, yeah. I'm a silly boy. Let's try and let's do this again. So we'll say plus. And we will say character range dot coal width. Hit save. Okay, let's delete this one out. Glam's a greedy guts. He's managed to get in there first, and he's grabbed himself a potion of healing. Potion of healing was taken. Great. Okay. Next person that's gone in to the bag is Pelagian. And we can see the potion of healing at the top here is gone. If we have a look at our little list here, we know that it should be below the water breathing, the next one popping up, and that's correct. So he also has felt around for the potion of healing, and he's got the potion of healing too. And you can see that this is the list of remaining items that keep popping up. Let's just get rid of that. Here, just hide him for now. Cool. Back to our adventure. All right. The next person that managed to reach in there was Shet. Don't want to mess with Shet. And Shet's gone in there, grabbed a potion of healing. You'll notice now there's these little red triangles, invalid input. That's totally cool because we've set that to it's still editable. It just gives you a little warning. But it just means basically that our potions of healing have run out. So Applesworth has gone in there. He's looked for a potion of healing and went, ugh. He's looked around and scouted his party and realized he's going to have to grab something else. So instead, he's decided for Liquid Luck. Now, there's 2 items of Liquid Luck still in there, but Pelagian has gone in and decided for the Potion of Invisibility. And it seems like another Potion of Invisibility is awaiting them. Yep, one here. What about Potion of Speed for Glum again? Bit of a greedy guy. Another potion of speed must be available. What about Shet? Shet's gone in and gone for a filter of love. Don't know why, she's such a babe. And there's only one filter of love, that's all you need. And then potion of healing. Potion of clairvoyance. And so on. So as you can see, the list diminishes until the list runs out, in which case there will be nothing from the selection box. So this is sort of handy, and in a real life situation or administrative situation, and you're working on your own or you're working in a careful group of administrators on a spreadsheet, this would be ideal. However, if you have a lot of people working on the same sheet at the same time, this is not an ideal approach, and I do recommend you use something like a Google form or the Google AppSheet alternative or web apps to grab input data from a separate location and then import the data into the Google Sheet. Why? Let me show you. So I'm going to go back. Let's clear everything up and start from the beginning here. I'm going to delete that. Let's right click, new cells, data validation. Let's delete that. We'll delete our story and we'll start a little adventure from the hi diddle diddle. From the beginning. Okay, so let's click investigate. Everything happens. investigateHat, we've got our drop-down list. Applesworth has launched himself off his 4-foot height and managed to reach into the Conjurer's Hat of Potions. He's grabbed the filter of love. But straight away, he's been pushed out of the way by Pelagian, who's also got the filter of love. Now we know that's weird, right? We know the filter of love. If we have a look here, and we go Control F, we'll say love, that there's only one love in this list. But how did Pelagian manage to get a second one? What magic is going on? Well, it is D&D, but there are still rules to the magical universe. And there was only one item in that list. So essentially, the onEdit process did not have time to run through its script before another person came along and grabbed the drop-down validation. Are there resolutions to this within the spreadsheet? Not really. Best thing we could possibly do is just down here, we might say cons current val or vals. And we just want to store the existing vals as quickly as we can that are in this range right now. Okay. And let's say inventory range dot get values. Okay, yeah, I know we're doing the same thing here. We'd probably sort this out as well, but I'm just showing you an example. Okay, so we've got these current vals here, and then once we've finished all our script, we're going to go again, once everything's done as our final step, and we're going to type in inventory range dot set values and put back in our current vals. So this will sort of speed things up. Sort of hopefully I can jink this just right to show you what's going on. So let's try that scenario again. Applesmith, the constant romantic, but also a bit of a greedy guts, has reached into the Conjurer's hat of potions. He's going to go for the filter of love and see if he can, and he thinks he's got a second bottle here. So let's just go for that. So he's got filter of love, he's got the second one, and you can see now the code's just got rid of that. Again, it's not ideal. The problem here is if I've picked the filter of love very quickly and I've quickly moved over to Pelagian and selected it, even while the process is finished, I can go ahead and click the filter of love again and it will still be present. You can store the existing list in property service and then check the property service each time, slowing the whole script down, again causing more issues. If the filter of love isn't existing in the current Conjurer's hat after it's been drawn, then it will just remove the current cell. Again, there's going to be a point where it's just not going to be useful for you. At the end of the day, if you're working with that knows how the script runs, then they shouldn't have much of a problem handling for this with the code, and they'll take their time using the drop-downs as needed. So that's it for reduced choice drop-down menus in Google Sheets using Google Apps Script. Time for me to head back to Baldur's Gate 3. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please click that like button. If you want to see more tutorials like this, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.